Hello everyone. Full disclosure, these are not Widowmaker tires. Okay, that's a split rim style. This is a split ring rim style. Let's take a closer look. Now normally this is your most common single piece rim right here. Okay? Now if you look over here, you know this rim looks completely different. Now it is the same bolt pattern. In this case, this is off the 77 F250. I'm fixing it for Broseph. But that is, first of all, the big difference. So when you're looking at like a double groove rim and it looks weird and old, that's what that is. It's actually split ring. So if you want to quickly identify it, that's what the two different styles look like. Modern, archaic. Now this is what it looks like when it's separated. Here's your ring and your rim. Split ring rim. This piece right here rides on the inside of the rim right here. So if you ever guys wanted to see how a split ring rim is dismounted, remounted for entertainment purposes only, let's do it. Alright, so first order of business is deflating the tires. We'll pull the core out of it, valve core. Woo, that stinks. Step 2, we have to break the bead on both sides of the tire. Now, obviously I have a tire machine to do this. I had to buy this thing because my back's not what it used to be. Top tip, don't get into an accident with a car at 45 miles an hour when you're younger. It doesn't do any good for you whatsoever. There's plenty of tutorial videos on how to bust your own bead on YouTube. And some of them are kind of frightening. I've done that shady stuff myself, but for all intents and purposes, we'll use the machine today. It'll save my back. This will take several tries. This thing's been on here quite a long time. Is the lighting any better there? Are we happy now? Good. Man, this one's rusty crusty. These are all bias tires, so they're pretty stiff. It's coming. Thank you. Tough little bugger. There we go. There we go. Come on. I know, it's been like 30 years. Up and at him. Oh yeah, this is where the back gets blown out. Okay. So now what I'm looking for is there's a split in the ring you can see right here. Okay? And that's where you'd stick your pry bar up. We need to find that groove. I'm going to found it. Let me rotate it over for you guys on the carousel. Okay. So there is the split right there, and right there is the groove. Okay, this is what you're looking at. All right, we've identified it. What's this Is there a mouse in my pocket? So, all we're gonna simply do is find that groove, stick our pry bar in there, push, and start to release the ring itself. Okay, we'll hold that there. I'll get another tire iron here. Hold that, and then now now I'm not reefing on this thing. I'm just gingerly lifting it up. So I don't know if you found one in the wild that's actually in pristine condition, unlike this piece of junk, which will never get used again because it's so rotted out. You don't want to go reefing on your rings because you don't want to tweak that ring. So shouldn't take terribly much effort. I suppose you could spray some penetrating oil, perhaps on here, maybe a little bit. I suppose one could do that. That certainly won't hurt anything. Just like that. Again, not giving it too much effort, just enough. Nope, I got a little bit more. There we go. That thing probably hasn't been off in 30, 40 years. Anyways. Okay. Believe it or not, that was a fairly easy part. If you're dealing with 30-year-old tires like I am. Now with these split ring rims, you're supposed to be able to just simply pull the tire off the rim. Okay, like this. Just pull it off. Let me show you the one that's already been disassembled. So looking at the rim that's already been dismantled, it's facing up. This one's facing up. You see how there's no lip on the outside? Okay, that's meant for the tire to just come off, just like this. The lip of the bead of the rim on these split ring style rims, that's actually removable, right? So in theory, the tire should just come straight up because these are smooth surface here to here. But it's not quite that easy in my particular situation. These are old bias tires, not very flexible, and they've been on here for 20, 30 years, I would guess. I would guess so, because it's actually still stamped made in USA. I don't know when the last time we made tires here. If I was out in the field or didn't have access to a tire changer machine, what I probably would do is lube everything up very generously. In fact, I might still do that, actually. Just so it slips over, because you'll be bringing this up here. Also, you may want to lube up your valve stem. Now remember, if you're working with split ring rims, more than likely you got good old tubes on it. And this is a tube type tire, so the valve stem has to be pushed through. And then we'll get to show you guys the flap and the tube itself and all that fun stuff. Now, I'm not using this again, so I gotta be a little bit more destructive with it. There we go. Let's push it through and push it out of the way for now. There we go. Obviously, if you're using that, you'd want to be a little bit more dainty with it. Now, normally, again, like I said, you should just be able to lift it off. Which I think I might be able to, maybe, if I was in the field. What I might do is actually put blocks underneath just the tire portion. Imagine this was the bottom, and just simply try to, stand on it and push the rim through it, the tire. But you also have some spring action here, so you might be fighting it. Once again, to save my back, I have a tire machine changer here, and I'm just going to simply use the duck head and help pull it off the rim. You can see how loose it is already, okay? And it will just come off this lip with no muss, no fuss. I'll show you that when I get up closer. When I get the tire pulled up closer here. And all this duck head is simply doing, instead of putting it over the lip of the rim, is just physically pulling it up. Because this is a 30-plus-year-old tires, you can see, and it's pretty much cooked. So this is just to help my back out. See, it's slowly pulling it up. There we go. I don't know if we'll get lucky. I may have to do the other side as well. Oh, maybe not. Thank you, Mr. Duckhead. Thank you. See, now I can... Oh, I should be able to pull the tire off now. All I'm basically doing is just using He-Man power here and just... prying it off here. Now, like I said, normally this would come off a lot easier. But when you're dealing with stuck tires for 30 years, you don't get a whole lot of reprieve. Oh. Okay. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, knock it off. Yeah, this thing folded over on me, so I was getting a little bit hung up. This right here will be our flap that protects the tube from rubbing on the rim itself. And of course, I lined it up good enough. That's where your valve stem goes through. And there you go. Basically, that's what you're looking at. We got our tire and our tube. Woo! Kind of stuck in there for a good little while. All right. Now comes our tube. Right. Now before we reassemble the tire, obviously you will want to grab a wire brush and clean that groove up where this ring sits, as well as clean the ring itself up. This one's so oxidized, I don't think this thing's fit for service anymore. There was a lot of rust jacking over the years. It's and some of the ring is literally sitting on the floor. If I had a good usable unit, obviously you'd take time and scrub everything up nice and thoroughly. Okay, so to remount, I have chosen a slightly squishier tire that's not so old. It's a little bit more pliable. I had tried off camera trying to put the bias tire back on, and to be honest, it wasn't having it. It was a pretty snug fit. I'm not using these wheels again for all intents and purposes. We'll use something a little bit softer. Same size, R16. So without that ring and the retainer right here, this is how you can mount and dismount these tires quickly on a split ring rim. Well, this one was supposed to go down too. Well, really? Well, yesterday's went thunk. I just can't have nice things. Okay, well, just made a liar out of me. There it goes. Anyways, there you go. That's how it's supposed to just go down something like this. So you basically pull it off, on and off the rim pretty easily, relatively speaking. But who uses these old things anyways? Idiots like me, maybe someday would like to go vintage. So, see if we can pull this off now. Okay, there's a good example of how it's supposed to come on and off. I think what I'll do first is I'll demonstrate putting the ring back on without the tire, so it's a little bit more, picture isn't as cluttered up per se. And yes, I had to do this off camera a couple of times to actually figure it out. Words are starting to get a little bit spicy. So, this ring goes back on the opposite way you took it off. So this ring will go on exactly how we took it off, just backwards, right? Reverse assembly, reverse to reassemble. I've noticed if it gets cold in here, this ring might shrink a little bit. If it was a hot day, or a cold day actually, I might want to put this out in the sun or something where it gets up to, you know, several degrees warmer outside. If it's sitting on the hot sun, that might help. This ring will go on. Same ring, it'll go back on, but you might be able to fight it a little bit. So what I do is I get this piece right here, hook it into the groove right here. Okay, just like that. And before I say anything further, if it doesn't seem to go on, sometimes me twisting this around, finding just the right shape, will allow it to just barely squeeze on. So, put that on there. So you just hook the bottom in like this. Clamp here. Because when you're trying to work in it, sometimes this thing will start walking around. So that helps keep this ring started. So with the clamp installed here, I'm going to be slowly working this groove back down underneath to catch the lip of the rim. The way I do that is I get into here. Again, this is where it starts to get a little dangerous. I use this as a basically it turns into a spring to push this rim out enough away from the rim where it'll seat, and you'll see it. I'll get a good camera angle for you guys. But again, this is why you take this to a tire professional, because this is where it gets dangerous. You're starting to load stuff up. Not deadly force per se, but don't be messing with this. Obviously, still not as bad as Widowmaker wheels, but again, entertainment purposes only. Right, so let's put this on. And what I'm doing is I'm just simply rocking my hand and trying to roll it over. Now this will try to slip out, so be careful. And it might take a bit. There it goes. There it goes. Now it just cammed over. There you go. Ring is engaged. Hopefully that's a fair enough picture. So just, what I was doing is just open it up and just rocking it in just with my palm. Just with my palm. So let's go ahead and undo it again. Let's see if we can get the actual tire on now. Again, I'm just a slight pry is all. Nothing. Don't need to torque this down or get a 4-foot cheater bar because you ruin your ring. Again, I'm not using a 4-foot cheater bar. I'm just gently prying it around. This should be able to come off with like a 2 or 3 foot bar I have here. Ah, you see how that popped? This is why you gotta be careful. You gotta pay attention. Now I'm sure there's a lot of YouTube videos on how to put tubes in a tire. It's not terribly rocket science, but with this, my tube here is cracked. So I can't fill it up with air. I'm not buying a $25 tube just to show you guys, but to show it aired up. But for all intents and purposes, you guys can use your imagination. And the reason why it's probably cracked, look how old that is. Check this out. When has Firestone last made something in the United States? My guess is it's been a long, long time. This is a vintage tube. I don't know, but that's probably why it's cracked. This thing's 20, 30 years old. Obviously, we would get a new one. But for all intents and purposes, for demonstration purposes, let's stuff this thing back in here in case you guys are remotely curious for the 2%ers that are still left watching this video. In which case, congratulations. You're the faithful troopers. Now, sometimes this guy will have a 90-degree angle pointing out, so you need to make sure which side of the tire you want to show. If it's unidirectional, you got white walls or white lettering. Obviously, make sure you place your valve stem however you want it to shoot out of the rim. Okay, so that's the actual tube itself. You want to make sure it's pretty evenly all the way around the tire. And this is the, I call it a flap. I don't know what the technical term of it is. And this goes in between the tube and the rim. Okay, obviously, as you can plainly see, the rim sits in here. So this is to protect the tube from rubbing on the rim. Liner? Maybe you can call it a liner. Check this one out too. Look at that. BF Goodrich. When was the last time they made something in the United States? Again, vintage liner, vintage flap. So, this hole is offset, so be careful with that. So I'll offset it towards this direction. Okay. And you basically stuff it in here. Or at least get it somewhat centered here. And it's going to take a bit. You got to keep the tube somewhat aligned. You got to keep this valve stem bit aligned here. It does take a hot second. Okay, so my valve stem is through the liner, flap, whatever. I'm simply curling it all in here. Pretty much just the way I found it. Just basically pinching it from both sides. Kind of slowly working it in. That tube's kind of loosey-goosey in here, so it won't suck it all in like this, but get the general's ideas. Okay. I think I'm ready to start mounting this bad boy up. My soap water needs changing anyways, so I'll just use some soapy water here. Grime it all up some more. and change it out when I'm done with this. Oh, do the same thing to the wheel. Make sure we orientate this correctly. So once you get onto the tire, you can see that flap or liner, if you will, start to take shape a little bit better. We'll slowly work it down, and hopefully we'll be none the wiser. So our valve stem hole is right here, and here's our valve stem. That would be the most crucial bit. There we go. I guess put her at an angle first. I don't know how much lube you want to be put on the inside of this tire, to be honest. It might rot some of the rim out more, I don't know. I'm just trying to make this video go a little bit smoother here, because this thing's kicking my butt. I'm not gonna lie, folks, this is... If you have the option, just use radial. Don't make your tire person suffer. Alright, now you see what I did? I crimped that valve stem right there a little bit. See how I kind of pinched it? Obviously, when you're doing this for real, you want to, you know, feather that thing in as best you practically can here. Which honestly, it will take finessing, which I don't have much of. So I'm going to pull the valve. I think if we pull the valve back just enough, there we go. And there we go. Excellent. Pull the tire back just enough, push it in, and pop it back out. Simple as sort of George says. Link is in, channel link is in the description below. Let's try to get him to 1,000 subscribers if possible. You guys know that I will never ask you to subscribe to my channel, but if we can have sort of George monetize so he can start earning some of that dirty corporate money, that would definitely help him out. I know you guys don't like watching ads, but it really does help us carry on creating content for you guys, both financing it and as a general motivator, you know. That would really be appreciated by him. Yeah, just try to cam this over now. Okay. Okay. We're close. We're close. Now the next bag of tricks is actually pressing this down up so you actually can get that split ring started, which looks like we can start it on this side. May have to somehow squeeze the tire down just a little bit more. I think on the medium duty trucks, such as your Ford F600s and F700s and your Chevy C40, 50s, and 60s, never done one in theory. It should be a lot easier than a pickup tire, light truck tire. But so basically, see what I'm doing is I'm just scooting it down just enough so we can get access to that ring groove. Obviously, if you can't access it, you're not putting your ring back on. So all I'm trying to do is scoot the tire inside of the rim a little bit more. See if this works. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but I just messed up a little bit ago. I'll leave it on the tape for you. But my shovel here is too close to the valve stem, and you probably would have broken it. See that? it wants to come in and crimp that. So obviously one would want to steer clear from that. So learning as we go. So now we've got our ring groove exposed much more. This should be a little bit more of a walk in the park, allegedly. So now we have an easy area for the ring to sit down on. That must... Again, I'm pushing with the pry bar to expand it and pushing my thumb here into the ring. That's what you call a big snap ring. There we go. Ah. There it goes. Hey, there we are. Obviously you want to use a dull blade. I'm using a pointed pry bar. Digging into the bead of the tire is not a good idea. But hey ho. There we go. Now before we inflate it, obviously this has to expand out into the ring. Ring is, I don't think it would go anywhere. I've seen the guys who have Widowmaker wheels when they do this, when they actually inflate the tire, they'll actually chain up, bring the chain around, and wrap it. So when it's expanding, if there's an explosion, at least the catastrophic blowout might be somewhat contained. Maybe throw another chain over there, I might do that. But for our purposes, I'll try to inflate it a little bit. We'll see how much that tube holds air. But if I was inflating this to full PSI, I probably would do that just to be on the safe side. But all right, let's just for funsies. I know that tube's got a crack, but let's see if it'll pump up at least a little bit. I'm not having much hopes, but. Well, maybe it will. Just enough. Oh yeah. That is starting to seat. I don't know what the PSI on this is. That's holding just enough. Well, it's 20 PSI right there. As you can see, we still have a groove here. This is rated, well, this tire is rated for 65. I don't know what the tube's rated for, but. There she goes. So actually, yeah, I think we can pump it up just enough to show you guys how it is. And my valve spin officially sprung a leak. Hush, I'm talking. Okay, well, my backing lighting, my backlight just died. So, anyways, that was fairly uneventful. Sweet. I'm glad I was able to get that on camera for you guys. So, if your tire guy or gal has been being a bit naughty to you, send them a split ring rim assembly for them too, a dismount and remount. That'll really grind their gears, I'm sure. Now, I don't know, however, what the policy is for split ring style. Obviously, this style is still on farm trucks, so they still will, I know some companies will still service them. It's the Widowmaker wheels, the split rims themselves. I don't have a split rim, but I know the Widowmakers, they will not touch, the tire companies will not touch Widowmakers, and for good reason. There's plenty of YouTube videos. I'll let you figure that one out if you want to go down the rabbit trail and be exposed to that. This is a split ring style, obviously much safer. You still got to behave yourself, know what you're doing, clean everything up properly, inspect it. So this video is for demonstration purposes only, again, just to show you what it was like back in the day to do split ring rims. Now there might be, I have an F600 medium duty truck I need to get going again. It's a dump bed. I need a dump truck would be nice, at least a rig gravel to drive. So we should be messing with these again in the future on the farm truck with the medium duty size, which hopefully will be a little bit easier. I don't know. we'll find out together if I choose to do that. So I hope this video tape was informative, and make sure you take your tire to the professionals. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys later. Good buddy, Team 4. Come on. I'm done. I'm done with this project. Torn apart, this is what it... Now, torn apart, this is what they look like. Except that's not... Except we need to lower it down more. Yes. Now I gotta wait for the air compressor to kick back off again. You just can't have nice things. Once again, we thank you, Mr. Air Compressor, Mr. Porter Cable. Okay. I think, gosh darn it, I think my shop's too small. So the way these split split ring rims. Woo! Back in the granny gear. Try it again. Now with these split ring rims, shut that yard light off. With that installed, you can be, so the clamp installed, you're going to be working. So you grab your tire of choice. You get the camera back up in here. Okay, so you get your tire of choice. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of YouTube videos on how to do this bit, how to put tubes in a tire, so I'm not going to get too elaborate. That camera's tilted sideways. Golly gosh darn it. Why can't we have nice things? Watch. There we go. The tire's not really in the shot yet. We're almost there. Oh yeah, I can just rotate it too. You dingling. This needs to go out of the way. This needs to go, oh, excuse me.